Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to another installment of Show to Be with Mike G, the show of life, the show of Dallas, the show of cognac, Remy Cointreau, education, and so much more with today's guest, Amy Florez of Collectif 1806, an educational group sharing great learnings from the industry, talking about spirits, especially in the Remy Cointreau portfolio. So many things that Amy has done in the Dallas area. Was a bartender, was working on the distribution side, and now the education brand ambassadorshipness of the industry as well. We sat down just a little while ago and talked about life, talked about married life, and all of these good things as her career has been progressing. So without further ado, I hope you guys enjoy this great chat with Amy Florez of Collectif 1806.
And I feel like a lot of people don't really understand cognac or understand brandy. I actually had the opportunity. My brother came over for Christmas, and he's a little like noob in the spirits.
Yeah.
And of course, you know, he saw my back bar, and obviously, don't brag about it. But he saw like my very
all two aisles of it back there.
But he saw the 1738, and he was like, "Oh, what's this?" So I told him a little bit about it and sat him down and had him sip some with me.
Yeah.
And he loved it.
So good.
He loved it. He had a party at his house a couple of weeks ago. He was like, "I bought some 1738 and I was drinking it with my friends and blah, blah, blah." And I was like, "What?"
It made him feel fancy.
It made him feel fancy.
And it's like kind of nice that big sis, I guess, right? Younger brother, older brother?
Older brother.
Okay, so young sis is giving him style tips.
Exactly.
Style hacks. That's got to feel pretty good.
It feels great, dude. There's really no better feeling than when one of my friends that isn't in the service industry or one of my family members comes to me for advice. Like, "Oh, I want to make a cocktail for this party. Like, what do I make?" You know? And so I give them like a recipe, or I give them a spirit. And it's so much fun. I've heard stories. My friends will come back and be like, "Oh, I was at this bar and I wanted some tequila, and, you know, I saw like Siembra and you told me about it and blah, blah, blah." And I'm like, yes, man. There's no better feeling.
No, that's a great one, because you know what it's like? It's like having people, now maybe family's a little bit lighter and they're maybe more amenable to stuff, but it's like when I tell someone to check out a record and they check it out and like, "Dude, that was really good." And I'm like, "Yeah, right, I got it.
I know, you're like, "I nailed it."
I've kind of got it. You know?
Yeah, you feel like you're like, "Yes, I still got it."
Yeah,
like, I'm like the cool guy.
I mean, I don't have any shortness of cool. I hope not, right, as I get older, but I do question it every day.
You and me both, kid. Like, you and me both.
Well, so this is interesting. So this is year 30 for you. You've turned 30 in last July.
Shout out. Thank you for knowing that.
Yeah, well, I don't know, is that good or bad? Sometimes age is, I think 30 was great.
I'm stoked.
How's it been so far the year? I mean, because it's one of those memorable years, you know?
Everybody's like, either you're afraid of 30 or you're super stoked on it. I, for one, was indifferent.
Oh, that's probably good.
Yeah. I guess I was like, all right, well, what's going to be different from, 29 to 30?
Yeah.
But here we are. And it's been a great year, too. I mean, it's my first year with Remy Cointreau and with Collectif 1806, so it's just been like a whirlwind.
Sure. A new chapter. Really, it just punctuated a new chapter for you. Getting married, roughly.
Married, yeah.
Man, how do you deal with so much change? I'd be really like curmudgeonly about it.
Okay, so last year, October, come back, October-ish 2016 was when I was still working for Victory Wine Group and John Garrett, shout out. And I was in the process of planning a wedding because I was getting married in November.
Yeah.
And then I was approached by Collectif 1806.
Yeah.
And so I was in this conundrum, and I was just like freaking out.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what I was going to do because I loved my job with Victory, but this new opportunity was very challenging. There was like like, why would I say no to something so amazing?
Yeah.
And such a cool position. So,
you got a hell of a portfolio.
hell
Right?
of a portfolio.
Yeah.
I know. I love
No slags
all of
in
our
that
brands.
group, man.
There's zero slags. We don't want no scrubs
Yeah.
in Remy Cointreau. But so it was just this huge life change. I changed career paths. I got married. And then the next year I turned 30. And it was a lot, dude.
Do you feel, sometimes when all these kind of challenges, and there are opportunities too, right? Like getting married is a challenge,
Yes.
up to it, but then of course you get to, enjoy the fruits of the labor kind of thing. But when all those things kind of converge, it's like a mountain. Do you feel like you're coming down the other side of it now and like kind of hitting this stride?
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was very challenging, especially, getting married. And we were still, we've been married a little over a year now. And so it's still kind of like a little honeymoonish stage, I guess you could say. But I feel like I'm kind of catching a stride. It was difficult for me the first year of this new position, just because it was so different than anything that I've done before. It wasn't necessarily sales. And I had to like wrap my brain around it. So it took me a while to kind of catch my stride in that way.
Right.
But I feel like I'm finally getting it.
Well, what's interesting is that literally when you work for a bar, you're behind the bar.
Mm-hmm.
And you are, in a sense, working as part of a team. And now, of course, you're still working as part of a team. But in a way, it's kind of everybody helping each other at the same time and point in service.
Right.
This is you stepping from behind the bar and kind of being on stage.
Yes.
And so this is now Amy as a brand.
Amy as a brand.
And
correct.
Is that not an interesting transition, but is that a hard thing to not be able to hide behind a bar where it's you just kind of exposed?
No, it is.
Yeah.
It is. It's very different. And I was never one for being the center of attention.
Yeah.
And it was like being behind a bar, you do have your team. I have my team with Collective, but I'm the only one in Texas.
Right.
So it's on you. You're on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not like it'd be like, oh, Emily, come.
It's
blah,
not
blah,
a
blah,
shared.
blah, blah.
Yeah, that's the great thing is like if service is bad, it's kind of on all of us.
Right.
Service is good. Likewise, the same thing.
There you go.
But if an event goes poorly, which
That's
not
on
to say
me.
it would, but
Oh,
it is.
knock on wood.
Right. but that is there's a massive amount of attention paid to you. Are you okay with that attention?
I'd say yes.
Yeah.
To an extent. No, it's different for me being in this position and being the sole Collective 1806 in Texas.
Yeah.
And it was very big shoes to fill also.
Yeah, because Emily went to New York, right?
Emily went to New York and Emily was Miss Texas.
Yeah.
And Emily knows everyone. So it was big shoes to fill and it was very intimidating going into it. But I also wanted to make sure that it wasn't like, oh, Amy's the new Emily.
Right.
Amy is Amy. And I wanted
does
to
she
make
have a sleeve tattoo on her left arm as well?
She's got on both arms.
Okay, they're both. All right. Phew. I was just making sure it wasn't the same thing.
Yeah, but yes.
Right?
Tattooed, blonde, here we are. No, but she did wonderful things in Texas, so I had very big shoes to fill, but I also wanted to make the position my own and make sure that I was respected for me and not just for, being Collective 1806.
Again, another challenge, right? It's like not only is it you kind of stepping out, you're not being eclipsed, but you're walking into these shoes that were really big to fill in the first place.
Yes.
Obviously, to your point, as far as I know, she knows everybody,
She knows everyone. It's so shocking to me. I'm like, God, how? How do you?
She's been there. She's paved an amazing road all the way into New York and a roll there. But yeah, so how do you make it your own? What is something that you feel is uniquely you?
So what I've done, I had different relationships than she did. So I had, she had some big boy relationships, which I still have down there as well, but we just have different personalities. So I clicked with certain people that maybe she didn't work with. So there's other opportunities in that avenue to where I can kind of do something a little bit different because I'm working with different people.
Right.
Rather than just kind of following her path that she paved. You know what I mean? Which
they kind of work in tandem, really.
Yes. Yeah. And it's helpful that she's very, very helpful, and it's helpful that she kind of paved that way for me.
Sure.
And she helped me obviously with some of the relationships and once I got into this position and things like that before she moved to New York. But also I want to carve off a little bit for myself too, and just try to make, I don't know, just make it a little bit different and just a little bit more my style.
Sure.
Not necessarily, oh, it's Amy. You know what I mean? Like,
not living in the shadows.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Yeah.
No, and it's hard. I mean, I was talking to you had Teeling whiskey before.
What was it?
Teeling. Have you had that Irish whiskey?
Mm-hmm.
It's really delicious stuff. And I recently had the privilege of talking with Jack Teeling, and his father was one of the biggest names in Ireland, in Dublin. He's opening up the Kool-Aid distill, like, you know what I mean, like a powerhouse of industry. The guy was, I have to assume, but rich and stuff. And so he's lived in this kind of shadow, but he's done such a great job being innovative, being creative, and just getting out of there and then becoming Mr. Jack Teeling. So it feels like you've been doing that. You've carved.
I'm
absolutely your
trying.
Space. Yeah.
I'm trying. And that's the hard part, though.
Right.
The innovation of it, which that's where my team comes in, and they're so helpful because we have, a call every week, and we have, collective trips where we all powwow and we're like, all right, what can we do next?
Yeah.
How do we make this better? How can we change this one? Like, this might be working, this isn't. So it's helpful to be around those other creative minds.
Sure.
Because in my mind, I'm like, I'm not that creative. What am I going to do? Blah. And then I freak out a little bit.
Yeah.
But it's so helpful to be around those other people and then, hearing their ideas and stuff that maybe worked for them in their market. Maybe I could do it in Dallas.
It's a volley. In a way, it kind of helps you. It invokes creativity in you.
Exactly.
It's like, oh, I didn't think about that, but then now I'm thinking about that.
But what if I do it this way? Yeah.
I love that. That's just team collaboration. And I think that's, if anything, a testament to not trying to do everything by yourself.
Oh my God, it's so tough. Dude.
It's tough.
I just get overwhelmed when I try to do, I can do this, blah, blah, blah. And then I'm sitting there and then I just get so overwhelmed.
Yeah.
And I've gotten better about it, but I did have problems asking for help sometimes just because I was like, it's not necessarily a prideful thing. It was like, I don't want them to think that don't know what I'm doing.
Right.
You know what I mean?
But you are a Leo, right?
I am right on the cusp. I'm a Cancer Leo cusp.
Okay. Because Lydia is the 30th of July. So when you talk about prideful, yeah. Okay. That's probably good because I was going to use that word pride because it is very lion-esque kind of thing, right? But it's nice. You want to collaborate. You're open. You're amenable to change. Those are good traits to have.
I try.
And so, I wonder because you now have really seen all three tiers, even though there's 4 tiers, but let's say all 3 tiers of this industry in Texas. Yeah. And you are a Texas native, is that right?
Born and raised.
Dallas specifically?
Dallas, Texas. Yeah.
How was growing up as a teenager in Dallas? I lived all over the place, but I never lived in Dallas.
So I grew up in Dallas. And then when I turned 13, let me rewind a little bit. So grew up in Dallas. And I went to private school.
Did you really?
I did, yes. So I went to private school all through elementary and junior.
Is that both boys and girls or just girls?
Both boys and girls. Cool, it was a small little school. It was called Metropolitan Christian School. Mm-hmm. Very small. It was in Pleasant Grove. And then when I turned 13, my parents moved to Mesquite.
Oh, okay.
And so I went from having 20 people in my 8th grade class to Mesquite High School with like 1,200 people in the freshman class.
Oh, man.
And it was such a culture shock.
How did that, did you feel kind of isolated? Because
yeah. Absolutely. My freshman year sucked. It was awful. And I was very quiet too. Yeah. I was a very shy kid. I didn't really kind of come into my own until high school. So people I would hear, because I was so quiet, I didn't want to talk to anybody, and I was nervous. And blah, blah, blah. And so people would, I would hear rumors and people would be like, oh, what's wrong with that girl? Like, oh, she's such a bitch. She won't talk to anyone. And I was like, why? Like, I just want some friends.
They totally misunderstood the situation.
Totally, yes.
As it happens often. Yeah.
But then, I met some friends. I got into like sports. I became a cheerleader.
No kidding.
Yeah. So the rest of my high school career was top notch.
Yeah.
Super fun. It was wonderful. But most of it was in Mesquite, Texas, rather than like in Dallas.
Ah, interesting. Yeah. So sports, you're relatively tall. Ish. Are we talking soccer or softball? What were you?
No. Doing? So my freshman year, I did track.
Track, okay.
And then I tried volleyball, but I was not that good at it. So
yeah, I feel you.
Lesson learned. And then I tried out for cheerleading, and then that's what I did.
Really?
The rest of the time, yeah.
But what's interesting is that you, and I this is not a disparaging remark, but like you seem counterculture, right? Like kind of connected to things that are cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Fuck that word, right? But still.
Yes.
And so almost the antithesis of.
I know.
like kind of punk rock mentality now, but then coming from being a cheerleader.
I know.
Does that just go to say that cheerleaders are full of lots of substance and depth as well? I don't want to
absolutely.
I mean, I
wouldn't lump it and going into, I know people think public high school and you just get this vision of jocks and cheerleaders and like theater kids and stuff. But I feel like, I mean, the way I remember it, whenever I was in high school, I wasn't just friends with cheerleaders or football players. I was friends with all of those people, but I was also friends with like people in drama. And I don't know, everyone just kind of hung out with everybody else. It wasn't like a cool guy thing and a not cool guy thing.
In other words.
Yeah. I mean, I never experienced that. But yeah, it's funny now as a 30-year-old woman looking back, and I was like, oh, cheerleader. And I'm kind of like, okay. But I mean, it was fun. It was fun.
It's hard because many of my understandings of the world come from 80s movies.
Totally.
Molly Ringwald and fucking Breakfast Club, right?
Yeah.
She was not that cool until the end of the movie when Judd Nelson finally pierced that very pretentious veil of hers. Good or not, that's kind of where I come from. Because I moved around so much, I was never a cool kid. Cool kid.
Yeah.
I like the way that sounds.
I feel like I had a little bit of both. Like I was quiet, shy kid.
Yeah.
And then also I was like, I wouldn't say cool kid. Ugh, I hate saying that.
I know it's kind of weird.
But I had I had friends, and high school was super fun.
Yeah.
I had a good time in high school.
Well, that's good. I mean, I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
When you talk about scholarly things,
yes,
you more of a math and science person or an art person?
Definitely not. I'm terrible at math and science.
Yeah.
I wish I was better at science because it's so interesting to me. But
can be, sure.
Dude, I got nothing for you on that end. I really don't. So I'd say I'd more like artistic and creative.
Yeah.
I'd say.
Do you find yourself influenced by art at that point and now? Kind of music or movies?
At that point, it was very like music for sure.
Yeah.
In my early 20s, it's like music and movies had a big influence on me.
And we'll talk post-college in a second because, of course, I always ask what bands influence people because I always want to dive into the music of, but we'll talk about this first. So, folks, were they saying, Amy, you got to go to 4U University? Was there any pressure? They were.
Yeah.
But is that what path they had?
Well, no, neither of them finished college.
Okay.
And I think that's why it was so important to them for me to go to college.
I see.
So they pushed for me to go to university, which I initially had planned on. So here's the dirt.
Sure.
So
this, as we talked before we were recording, this is dark. As they call it. This is internet dark, internet black. This is stuff that's not out there.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, that's fine.
So in high school, I was a good student. I made really good grades. My senior year, I started to slack off a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So my senioritis caught me super hard, and I was like, this sucks, and I just mentally checked out.
Right.
So my grades didn't go to shit. They weren't terrible, but they weren't awesome either. And my mother had worked at Southern Methodist University for 20 years, 20 years.
What did she do over there?
She was in the engineering department, but she was one of the secretaries. So a foreign exchange secretary in the engineering department.
Cool.
So, and she loved it. So I remember being, 8, 9 years old and spending my summers at SMU. Yeah. And just hanging out with my mom at work.
Born into academia.
Oh my God. I loved it so much. Like cruising around the campus. Thought I was like hot shot, but I was like 12. People knew. So, no, so that was in my mind, that was it. I wanted to go to SMU and that was my plan. Hindsight. So, my senior year, like I said, slacked off a little bit. I'm going to sound so dumb. I literally only applied to 2 colleges.
Nice. Actually, in all fairness, me too.
Okay. Well, now I don't feel so.
And we're just so amazingly successful now. Yeah. It worked out.
See, it all worked out so well.
Sure, of course.
No, so I applied to SMU, and of course, my senior year, I didn't do so great, and I didn't get in. And I was pissed. I was like, this sucks. I don't even want to go. I got into the other school. Yeah. But I was like, I don't want to go there. Blah, blah, blah. 17-year-old Amy just being a jerk. So I was like, I don't want to go there. That's stupid. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah. But all through high school, I'd worked 2 jobs. So I'd worked since I was 15 years old. So I was like, whatever, I'm just going to work and make money and then go to, a junior college for a little bit. So I got a full-time job, and then I started going to just a community college and at nighttime, and then doing that whole bit. And I mean, like my career path at the time, because I was working, I was more in corporate, was kind of going a direction. So I was like, this is cool. Why don't I just ride this wave? And then I just bailed on college.
Yeah. No, I mean, that happens. It's very normal thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's fine.
I mean, it worked out all right.
It worked out really well.
See? I mean, this is the thing, is that growing up in the 80s and being cognizant of the message that is like, mind is a terrible thing to waste. This was the slogan, if you will, of the 80s. You think that, oh man, there's only one way, there's only one path to the quote unquote American dream, you know? And you're like, well, I gotta do this. It's ingrained. But then you realize entrepreneurs don't do that shit. The most successful businessmen in the world don't do that. They dropped out of college. You know, Rivers Cuomo
or high
Harvard,
school.
left.
I mean,
sure. But I love Matt Damon, I'm going to say it. But he dropped out of Harvard too, right? Anyway, the multiple dudes.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really matter.
It doesn't, but that was my parents. Like I said, that was
did that
their
cause some
version.
friction?
Not really. My mom still, because whenever I was still going to the junior college, my plan was to transfer into SMU.
I see. Okay.
So we were
cheaper,
all on
save some
board.
money, and then you can,
Yeah, sure, exactly. But there wasn't any tension. They weren't like disappointed in me or anything like that. It was just a different path, and I think it was more so for them than it was for me, just because neither of them finished. So they just wanted me to be that one that finished.
I get it. You know, we got a little bit of pressure on our shoulders,
a little bit
to achieve in that, but that's okay.
Yeah.
So, all right, now I'm going to go back to the question about your early 20s here.
Okay. Uh-oh.
Music influences you. What was that band that was really making you feel something?
Okay. I must give you some kind of history. So,
sure.
Like I said, I went to Mesquite High School.
Yeah.
And I have been obsessed. This didn't make me feel something. This isn't some like big, like whatever.
Right.
So, I have been obsessed since I was probably about 16 years old with 3 6 Mafia.
Really? That's good. They're from Houston or New Orleans? Like, I can't remember. They're from the South or somewhere, right?
Yeah, I guess. I'm not sure.
Dude,
but that was just, a big part of my life was like super, like all the like dirty rap, you know what I mean? Like Southern rap.
Yeah.
The whole bit, like
all these guys are coming to mind.
Like
now.
Slim
Master
Thug
P.
and Master P and like Paul Wall and the whole like just Southern rap.
Yeah,
which
I call it Paint Shop Pro rap because all those album covers were done on shitty old PCs.
Yes,
that's a great.
The paper like slid in the front of it.
It was so bad.
It's like some shitty car and like terrible graphics, just like 26-inch rims. Yes.
That's a certain place and time for that, though.
Yes, and that was very much a part of my life.
Really,
and still is.
I can't say I'm surprised necessarily, but. Is it something you can just bring out casually at like parties and stuff?
Actually, funny story for you. So Alfred Cointreau of Cointreau came to Dallas at the beginning of February, and we were hanging out. I mean, he was with me 24/7. So I was driving him around, and I was like, "Hey, Alfred, like, what kind of music do you like?" And he was like, "I don't know, everything." And I was like, "Have you ever heard of 3 6 Mafia?" And he was like, No, I don't think so. And I was like, let me, hang on a second. Let me show you. So I got him listening to 3 6 Mafia. Yeah. And he was like, he was into it. And like a week later, he sent me a message. And it was a screenshot of his phone. And he was listening to Sipping on Some Scissor
by
3 6 Mafia.
What have
and I was like, influencer.
See, that's got to, so he would influence you booze-wise, but then you go and you stick him.
With 3 6 Mafia.
Well, fucking played.
Thank you, sir.
See?
I try.
I'm just going to use cool the rest of this conversation. It's just it's a thread. That's cool. Good. Trendsetters. If you will. So that's pretty good. All right, so that comes into play.
That comes into play, for sure.
Ready to party? Is that you?
Always.
Okay.
But yeah, my early 20s though, I got into like, I don't know, like, you know, when you're early 20s and you're like,
You're moving around as
and-
if you're feeling something. I just want everyone to know.
Well, I'm very animated when I talk.
Yeah,
So
it's like you're writhing. It's amazing.
I'm like, oh yeah. No, so my early 20s, I kind of got like, I started smoking a lot of weed.
Yeah.
Mom, don't listen to this. Sorry.
It's legal. Just go to a state where it's legal. It's fine.
It's true.
See?
Go to Nevada, California. We're all good.
Perfect.
So I started listening to, you know, like Bon Iver and like Band of Horses. And I was like the Strokes. And you know what I mean? I was just all up in it. And I loved it. And it was
beard bands. That's what I call them.
Yeah.
Dudes with beards.
And I was just, you know, because you're all emotional and stuff when you're in your early 20s. I'm like, what am I doing with my life? And here we are. And smoking a lot of weed. So here we are. But yeah, so every time I hear one of those songs or one of those bands, I'm just like taken back.
Sure. You really get the feels.
Yeah. And then also, you know, I had like the hard ass in me.
Yeah.
Was like Alice in Chains.
Of course.
Obviously.
Yeah.
And things like that. So yeah, that's you know,
good.
early 20 iPod was on fire.
It sounds incredibly diverse.
Very.
Which, if nothing else, is impressive.
Thank you.
And I think that will make a lot of people interested as to what playlist you'll put together for their next event. I'm
Hey, yeah.
Right? So, kind of some.
If anybody needs playlist, shout out.
See,
I got
there
you.
Go. Perfect.
A little something for everybody.
Yes, from 3-6 Mafia to Alice in Chains.
Oh, yes. Anyone?
Spans the fucking gamut. Actually. massive gamut. So this foray into what you call kind of corporate America, whatever it might be. Yeah. Did that coincide with hospitality stuff at the time? Because you talk about the Idle Rich Pub, a staple of Dallas. I think there's like multiple locations.
Well, it's closed now, so rest in peace. But there are
other ones.
There's other
right?
ones.
Okay.
Yeah, they've got other ones. Yeah, go ahead.
So you did that kind of have an allure to it that was a little less structured, a little bit more fun, like. Yeah.
So like I said, I started just working in the corporate world, which I liked, and I thought that's what I wanted.
What
because
kind of industry? I'm just curious.
So I started my very first like super corporate job, I would say, was a Meridian Business Centers. So basically, they had they rented out office space and they provided you with a staff. So you'd have a receptionist that would answer your phone and things like that, and you would just rent an office. So that's where I started out, and I moved up in that company. Up to client relations manager, and I was like, this is great. And I thought I was just hot shit.
Yeah.
But also at the time, I was going to school full time at night, and I was having to start working overtime, and it was just too much. And I was like, all right, I'm going to scale it back a little bit. So I got a receptionist position with Merrill Lynch.
Oh.
And then at Merrill, I worked my way up. You know, I went to operations, and I was working in operations for a little bit, and then I moved into a client associate role. Yeah. So then I was just working with the financial advisor and things like that.
Man, blah, blah, see, blah, blah, you know, the doubt, even you're like,
it's boring.
No, but that's okay for some, and I get that.
Yes.
But
for
that's
some people,
all part of like the 2.5 kids and like having a dog and having the cat. I don't buy into that.
No, and that's kind of where I felt like I was going. You know what I mean? I was like, in my mind, I was like, this is success. This is what I want to do. And I just, I couldn't play into it because I met a lot of great people there that I'm still friendly with. But it wasn't for me because it was very like buttoned up and like and a white picket fence and 2 children and
Yeah, dude, it's just too straight and narrow.
It's too straight and narrow. And I was like, this sucks. And I got to a point where I was waking up and I was dreading going to work.
That's
so I was
worse.
stuck in a cubicle and I couldn't handle it. So Idle Rich Pub was in Uptown. I worked in downtown. So it was literally right down the street. And we would go there for happy hour. And I was like, this place is cool. I like hanging out here.
Yeah.
And I literally, went and interviewed one day and I was like, hey, what's up? Can I work for you guys? And Charles, he's actually still a very good friend of mine, interviewed me, and he was like, do you have any experience? And I was like, well, I worked at Sonic in high school. Like,
tired.
I was a car hop. Hey. And he was like, all right. And he gave me a chance.
Nice.
And I remember when I told my dad that I had quit my job at Merrill Lynch to become a cocktail waitress. Oh, poor Danny.
Did he cry?
He didn't cry, but he was just like, okay.
Oh,
like
wind from his sails.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
But only temporarily.
Only temporarily. And I was like, I'm just going to fill this out.
Yeah.
And funny, like we were talking about earlier, that's where I had met Josh Hendricks.
Dude.
Yeah.
Gosh.
And he was a bartender there.
Did he ever not have a shaved head?
As far as I can remember.
Forever, right?
Forever.
Yeah.
For
I've
literally
never seen
ever.
him with anything but like pretty much a shaved, not bald, but
don't
short.
remember full hair.
Most aerodynamic dude I know.
Yeah.
Seriously, no one else has that I know. You go back to the like all of his previous pictures, shaved head.
Shaved
goatee
head.
too, right?
Forever.
Always a goatee?
I can't remember back that far.
See, I mean, these are years back.
I know. This is a while back.
After well, this is a question.
This is a question for Josh
people want to
Hendricks.
know. I'm gonna have to ask Josh.
Yes, I think you should.
But that's good. So you're forging because you guys are coming up at this burgeoning cocktail scene at the same time, and probably don't know that you both will play a pretty good part in this whole thing.
Literally no idea.
No idea.
No clue.
Yeah.
But he was the nicest guy because I remember when I first started working there, I just had no clue what I was doing. And I was like, ugh, and he was so nice and so helpful. And he would always, if I didn't know what something was or, God, I forgot what this beer was, da-da-da. And he was always so helpful.
Yeah.
And it's funny because Idle Rich also, when Emily moved to Dallas from Portland, we had a mutual friend, Robin. And Robin got Emily a job at Idle Rich.
Oh my gosh. Same location?
Same location.
Dude.
So we worked together for all of like 2 weeks. And I remember seeing her come in just full of energy. And I was like, who is this girl and how? Like, how do you have so much energy? But yeah, so.
God, it's so crazy.
Pretty power hitters coming through Idle Rich.
Yeah. There's always, it's always the unsuspecting places.
It is,
Like
yes.
Austin's got them. Dallas has them. San Antonio's got them. But there are always those places. It's like CBGBs before it was cool.
There you go.
The bands kind of sit there and their peers and their contemporaries, and all of a sudden, things just blow up.
And they're like, oh shit, remember when we used to hang out at this like shitty bar when we were 13 or whatever? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like,
and you're like, now we're rich and famous.
That's the place.
Yeah.
That was the place.
Yeah.
But in terms of cocktails and maybe composition of flavor, understanding techniques, what was the moment for you where that stuff, what is like a 202 of cocktails, started to kind of resonate and connect with you?
So that happened when I started working at Victor Tango's. Because, working at a Irish pub, it's shots and beers.
Sure.
Shots and beers, Jack and Cokes.
Right.
So I didn't really know much about cocktails there. And then I got this job at Victor Tango's, but I started out as a server. I'd been bartending, but obviously I have to like cut my teeth a little bit because I don't know how to do craft bartending per se at that point. So I started as a server, and I started under Matt Reagan, and he was such an influence. I feel like I owe a lot, if not everything, to Matt Reagan to where I've gotten today. He was very helpful. He pushed me a lot. There was a lot of crying in the office and like yelling at him, but he pushed me to be better and get better. But when I started there, Matt Reagan was the general manager. Emily was the bar manager.
No way.
Yeah. So she actually was the one that taught me the basics.
Yeah.
And we started going over, craft cocktails. How do you make a proper cocktail? And then going over the classics and memorizing all of that. And then when she had left, when Remy scooped her away, Alex Fletcher came and was the bar manager, and he helped me a lot with flavor profiles. And we did a lot of blind tastings and things like that, and then how to create your own cocktail. So it was a lot of Matt Reagan, Alex Fletcher. Emily
these are
Arsenault.
pretty distinct pieces of curriculum,
Yeah.
if you think about it. Because everybody's like, well, school. Yeah, but life gives you classes too.
Yes.
And
And this was
different teachers,
Yes, very much.
And it's nice how layered it is, and it almost seems like this natural evolution. It's like, here, just do the thing. You'll be okay. Just do it.
Yeah.
And then it's like, here's a little bit more about the basics. And then, all right, I'm ready with the basics. Let me take it to another
Take it to the next level. Here's the next little level. This is how you can make your own cocktail. Da, da, da. And I loved it.
What year are we talking at Victor Tango's?
Oh boy, let's see. I started there 2013. 2013.
Is it recently shuttered?
Yes. So they closed New Year's Eve this year.
Yeah.
Rest in peace. It was very sad.
Did the people transition into other big, bold projects?
Well, yes.
As they do?
So, as they do, yes. So, Matt Reagan actually, and then our chef, Kristen Brewer, teamed up with Elias Pope at HD Supply.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah. So,
Mate, right?
with Mate, yeah. Do you know Mate's down in Austin now?
Yeah.
Lives here? Okay. Yeah.
No, that was a good thing, but yes, yeah.
So, they started a Chinese restaurant called Gung Ho on Lower Greenville, and it's so much fun. If anybody's going to Dallas, check it out.
Yeah.
They do industry night on Mondays, and it's so much fun.
I mean, we might be able to make it.
You want to go? I got my car outside.
I guess I don't know. We'll just maybe make it. We'll have to see.
Barely get there. Food till 2.
Could use some noodles though.
No, really. Oh, it's so good. But yeah, and everyone kind of went off and did their own thing, and so now I'll be around town, and some of the bartenders that were at Victor Tango's are now at Bowen House, or they're dispersed. So
it always happens. I mean, they find good homes.
Yeah, they do. It was just. I don't know. It was kind of Victor Tango's was shifting. It was changing a little bit, and I guess it just ran its course, and it was still very once I found out for sure, I was really bummed because that place was like a second home. Sure. I loved that place.
Very influential. Too,
very,
set of mentors there.
Mm-hmm. That was like a pivotal moment in my life. Was going to Victor Tango's. Very pivotal
in the autobiography.
Yeah.
Chapter, I don't know which chapter, but maybe
chapter
somewhere in the middle of the book.
Like 6.
There we go. That's what I was thinking. 5 or 6.
Perfect.
Yeah.
See?
I don't know how many chapters total, but somewhere around
Written
5 or 6.
Amy Florez. New York Times
You're doing
bestseller.
this elongated, like cursive stuff. I love it. Some of the pantomime stuff, like you can't capture, but I get to.
I know. I can't help it.
No, I like that a lot. It's funny. It's like you guys, you have no idea how animated. No, but very good thing.
Yes, very good thing.
Now that the Dallas cocktail scene, and full disclosure, I know many of the people, the lovely people behind that movement, if you will, that were there at the beginning and all of this. Now, years later, 2018, where does it stand now? Is it too big? So for comparison, Austin doesn't have the people both to source good bars in terms of finding people to stand behind them. Right. And two, the people that are willing to spend money on cocktails. I think that we're reaching a saturation point here because of many reasons. But in Dallas, being a much bigger metroplex, how is the cocktail scene now? Is it full of upside still? Is it reaching a standstill? Is innovation at its height or low point?
You know what? This is in my humble opinion. Yeah. I think that there's still so much going for the cocktail scene in Dallas, to be honest with you. I don't think a lot of people are like, oh, it's oversaturated. I think there's just certain areas that have been oversaturated by cocktail bars, but there's still so much room for more. Yeah. And I feel like people are continually being innovative when they're coming up with new concepts, when they're coming up with new cocktails themselves. I feel like I'm excited about the Dallas cocktail scene. Yeah. And a lot of people,
people get jaded though.
People get so jaded. They really do. And then you hear, I'm a big fan of Austin. I love Austin, but I hear people in Austin like, oh, whatever, Dallas sucks.
Yeah, people that have lived here like 2 years.
Yeah. And they're like, oh God, Dallas. And I'm like, no, Dallas is so much fun. And there's so much to do down there. And honestly, we've got the old school people that are still plowing the way in Dallas. But now we have this like new insurgence and this new generation of bartenders that actually give a shit. Yeah. And I feel like there's a lot more people maybe that I've run into that they want to make this more of a career path rather than just being like, I'm going to bartend through college. You know what I mean? It's proved to
be a lucrative thing now.
Very. And I think people recognize that now.
Yeah. Like once your parents, not necessarily your parents, but once parents get that's like an actual legitimate career that pays accordingly.
Yes.
There's brand work. There's PR you can do. There's so many different aspects of it. There's a lot of upsides. So it's good to hear that there's still much, much left to be done.
Yes.
In the Dallas scene.
Yeah. And I mean, that's just
No, I know you would
That's
know,
how
but I mean, you've
I
been there a
feel.
bit.
Yeah.
Just a little while, it seems.
Just 30 years or so.
Something like that. I mean, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Maybe not as long as Charlie Patton, but
Definitely, definitely not as long. But yeah,
Yeah.
and you've seen a huge change the past, I'd say maybe 5 to 7 years in Dallas, to where, these old school neighborhoods that were just had gone to shit are now on the come up or already up, and they're just on and popping now. And so it's really cool to kind of see this shift and see how everything's gone.
Yeah. No, it's very exciting to see because you guys will go through some changes, and we will. Houston will. San Antonio, which is the youngest, not as a city, but just as a cocktail culture,
right?
Really starting to, what is it? Bloom.
And I got just a very small taste at San Antonio Cocktail Conference.
Yeah.
That was my first time down to San Antonio since I was a kid.
Yeah.
And, I'd always heard great, wonderful things about it. And it was just like my quick little taste of it. But
makes you want more, though.
I know.
That's
I'm excited about next year.
Conference. You out there for a couple of days, I need to be here more.
Pretty cool. Yeah, this is pretty cool. I'd like to check this out a little bit more. It's
it's a lovely, lovely place. Love San Antonio. So, what was the conversation like when Remy came to you and said, "Hey, there may be this opportunity"? Mm-hmm. Did you feel what kinds of things were you thinking about at that point?
I was excited.
Yeah, doubtful. At all?
I was doubtful only in I was doubtful in myself. I feel like not that. Oh, this wouldn't be a great opportunity. It was more so oh shit, can I do this? Because it was a whole new set of challenges. I said, it was something that I've never done or experienced before. And I just felt like, am I going to be out of my element? But that's the whole reason I took it, because I was scared. You know what I mean? I was like, if I don't want to I never, ever, ever want to get comfortable.
Yeah.
Because then I feel like I'm going to get stuck somewhere.
Well, I mean, how long can you be comfortable?
Yeah, exactly.
What's the point in that?
Yeah.
Can you grow if you're comfortable?
No, definitely not.
So,
yeah. So this was just this was a growth opportunity in my eyes, a learning opportunity, because when I worked under John Garrett, I learned so much. That man is just a wealth of knowledge, and I loved it. I loved it. Every day I was learning something new, and it was so wonderful, and I loved it. And then this opportunity came and dropped in my lap, and I was like, okay, this can be further knowledge for myself. I can just learn more.
Another class.
Yeah, exactly. Just an extra step. So I was excited, and it was just going to be a huge challenge. So I was like, well, saddle up, kids. I'm in.
We're in for a bumpy ride. There's another word, though.
Bumpy. Wait. We're in for a wild ride.
Wild ride? Ride? Yeah.
Okay, wild and bumpy ride. Oh, so we were both right.
Yeah.
Perfect.
We're going to need a bigger boat. Wait, that's different. Sorry, that's a different movie altogether. So, Collectif 1806.
Yes.
Is the right way to talk about the town hall-like forums that you guys facilitate. Anathema, is that the right way to say it?
Athenaeum.
God
Correct.
damn it. See?
What were you saying? Athenaeum?
No, Anathema, I flipped it.
Oh, yeah, you flipped it around a little bit. That's fine. That's okay. We forgive you.
This is this word itself has so much gravitas. And last time I spoke with Emily, she was facilitating a similar kind of discussion here in Austin. And you just had one, I guess, a couple weeks in Dallas,
I literally just had one March 5th in Dallas. And that was my second one.
Oh, cool.
I think it's a great tool. I love it. We're tweaking it. We're trying to, because I believe when you talked to Emily, that was, like the first or second one ever. So the format was a little bit different. So this past year, we decided to tweak the format a little bit. And instead of, because when you talked to Emily, it was this long, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. It was this long, big thing, which is daunting. And it's hard, service industry wise, it's hard to get people, hey, I know you commit that much time, and they'd be like, hey, I know you closed last night, but do you want to wake up at 10 a.m. and come hang out? So we tweaked it up a little bit, and to make it a little bit more interesting, we kind of, we have a couple of speakers, and we break it up a little bit more, and then we do an instructional portion too, to where it's a little bit more hands-on. Yeah. People can stand up, talk, look around, things like that. So we broke it up a little bit, and it's been pretty successful, I think, in my opinion.
As you guys have evolved the program.
Yes.
So, but at Collectif 1806, in spirit, no pun intended. If we're on an elevator together and I'm just a dude,
Yeah.
tell me what this means. What does this impact? What it is in essence?
So, in essence, we are a collective of bartenders.
Yeah.
We're all bartenders, former bartenders, that want to influence the cocktail scene in our cities, in our states, things like that. So we want to influence the bartender. We want to influence, we want to raise the bar, essentially. Like, we're trying to make everything better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If that makes sense.
So both in quality of product and community health, all of the issues?
Yes. And more like the thing that I've been focused on, especially with the Athenaeums, is just community.
Yeah.
You know, just connecting people a little bit more. We're all in this together. Because
Sure.
I feel like a lot of the times, and it bums me out because I see it too often, you know, talking shit about another bartender or another bar or another spirit.
Yeah.
Or, you know, we're all in this together.
Sure.
We all have the same goal. We're all in the same community. So that's kind of what I'd like to focus on a little bit more.
Yeah. And you have many beautiful children in said portfolio.
Yes.
You've got, if I recall, cognac in there somewhere.
Oh, what? Cognac.
Some Cointreau, perhaps.
Yes.
Some Bruichladdich
Ding, ding, ding.
Scotch, single malt
Bruichladdich
Scotch,
Scotch.
which is delicious. And then we're sipping some of the Botanist, which is, this is made at Bruichladdich too?
So the Botanist is made in Bruichladdich as well. Mhm.
And,
So
and they can, I mean, I had this pleasure of going through all the botanicals one time.
oh my God.
with somebody. Yeah,
If
and
you
it's like-
ask me to list them off, there's
So
way.
many, and it's
Yeah.
just like, these are so cool. I just want to go hang out in the forest already.
Yeah,
Just like
it's
go
awesome.
take me out there. You know?
It's very interesting to see because I've actually got to go to Isla.
Yeah.
And so I've seen some of these, you know, botanicals that they put in. I'm like, God,
It's
how?
so cool.
It's awesome.
It's just, it's almost like fantastical.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? These kinds of flavors taken to this foreign place. It's something that's really nice about gin is how transportative it can be. Not to the extent maybe like a cognac is, or even some rums. Mountain Gay, right? That's what.
Yep.
Yeah. So, all right. So there's a bunch of beautiful children in this portfolio.
Also, Westland American Single.
Yes, which I love. They've done a great job for American whiskey.
Okay.
It was kind of suffering a little bit. I'm gonna be
know.
honest. There was some stuff, but they made. I really enjoy.
Yes.
I've had. It's hard to say even which ones I've had at this point.
Oh
But the
man,
single
I
malts are all
should have.
really good.
Okay, next time I'm in Austin, I'm going to bring you a bottle of the Garyana.
Oh yeah, see, it sounds good to me, right?
Yeah. Oh dang! I wish I would have brought that.
But no,
Oh,
but
okay.
it,
Next time.
This is partially whether it's mezcal, brandy, rum, whiskey. Get the pleasure of talking to all kinds of people. So if you think it's delicious, I got to try it. And I got to talk
Yes,
about it.
I think it's top notch, and you absolutely have to try
See,
it.
that's why you guys acquired them.
Exactly.
The big French bucks.
Yes.
That makes some sense. But as spring is kind of dawning on us,
Mm-hmm.
is there one way you're leaning to over the other? Do you go lighter during the warmer months?
Yeah. So I always try to show everybody a little bit of love.
It's hard.
It's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard because I'll get on a martini kick and then I'm just drinking Botanist forever, and then I'll get on a daiquiri kick and I'm drinking Mount Gay, and it's hard, and I catch myself doing it. I'm like, okay, give everybody a little bit of love here. You know what I mean? But I feel like in the summer months, gin shines.
It's an interesting one. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
it
mean,
just shines.
How about this then? What is maybe the unsung, underknown hero of that category? People are like, oh, that's part of.
Oh, of our portfolio,
Yeah.
like the unsung hero.
Yeah, the
I
people are
wouldn't
really not.
I wouldn't say, oh man, this is tough. I wouldn't say unsung hero, but I will say underrated.
Okay, that's fair.
Metaxa.
Well, all right, that's fair.
Okay, but unsung hero. Let's see.
That could be.
Yeah,
It's pretty brooding.
it is very brooding. It
Yeah.
is. Man, can I say that they're all my favorites?
Yeah, you can, and that's fine. I would never expect you to choose. This isn't a Cain Abel situation. You don't have
I
to.
know. Don't make me choose
I'm
one of
not
my
going to make
children
you
over
choose.
the other.
See, that's why it's like, I'm feeling during the colder months. This thing.
I'll tell you, man. Octomore.
Oh man.
That is my personal unsung hero.
Oh.
Octomore.
Yeah, it's pretty sultry.
Have you ever had an Octomore mojito?
No.
Okay.
That is mind-boggling to even wrap my head around. Actually.
So I'm gonna shout this one out to New Orleans. specifically Barrel Proof, where
Yeah.
I had my first Octomore mojito. And it was delightful.
That is
Oh boy.
interesting to think about how the mint would play with that peat. I like that concept a lot.
Yeah. No, it's insane.
Yeah.
It's literally insane, but it works.
Wow.
I know.
That's intriguing if nothing else.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes you see a guy in a role or you see a woman in a role in a movie and you're like, I didn't think they could do it. And then they do it. It's like, oh my God, there's no one else that could have done
Yeah,
that.
exactly.
I like that.
Your Man Octomore, starring in Mojito.
Screen Actor Guild nominee. Octomore. Oh, that's great. That's really good. So what brought you to Austin this trek?
So I try to get down here at least once a month. Austin's kind of hard to break into.
Is it?
A little bit. I feel
because of the relationships or the...
Yeah, just Emily had it on lock down here, and before I got this job, I barely came down here. It was like college, 6th Street, blah blah. But it's been so much fun. But I try to get down here once a month and meet new people and be like, hey, don't forget about me. I'm going back to Dallas. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, this is one of those trips. Which,
that's cool.
Yeah, but it's so much fun. Every time I come to Austin, I have the best time.
And you're catching everybody with a little bit of rest now, which is good.
Which was my plan.
Yeah.
Because I did not want to come in. Yeah. It's senseless for me to come down here and try to connect with bartenders during South by Southwest.
Oh, yeah. They don't even hear you. I don't want to visit anybody.
No.
Like, I can't be nice. I can, but they won't be nice. You know what I mean? Like, it's mission mode, man. Just get through out the door. Yeah.
So I bailed on that, and I was like, all right, it's ending. Here I come. Hey, guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah. They're a little disarmed now.
Yeah.
Well done.
Thank you.
The guards are down.
I'll plan this out well.
It makes a lot of sense. Good strategy, I would say.
Thank you very much.
Well, so I've got 2 more questions for you.
Hit me.
And I ask this of everybody, and I never know what anyone's going to say. That's why I keep asking it.
Uh-oh.
So let's say you're sipping your Octomore mojito, okay? And you're at any bar in the world, or you're at Barrel Proof in New Orleans.
In New Orleans.
Either way. And you can sit there and have a conversation with anybody, living or deceased. Who might you like to just sit there, sip on that beautiful mojito?
I got it. Madeline Albright.
No way.
Swear to God.
She passed though, right?
No, she's alive and well. Okay. I saw her. She is one of my all-time super inspirational women.
Yeah.
I saw her in San Francisco. God, sometime last year. I can't remember when. But we were having breakfast. I was with my in-laws and my husband. And my husband gets up to go to the buffet and comes back and goes, hey, that lady that you like a lot is here. And I go, what? It was so generic. I was like,
I know. My mom had breakfast.
Yeah, like, what are you talking about? And he was like, no, that lady that you like. And I was like, who are you talking about? She's right there. I look over and I see Madeline Albright and I'm like shaking.
Whoa.
I start shaking. And then my father-in-law, he's like this big, bolstery man with this like deep voice. Yeah. He's like, you should go and talk to her. And I was like, shh, be quiet. Like, I don't want to. And he was like, no, seriously, you should go talk to her. And I was like shaking.
Wow.
Because I was just, she's.
You were starstruck.
I was starstruck.
Yeah.
And I've seen, other people. I'm like, okay, that's cool.
Is she short?
Tiny.
Yeah, that's what I recall about her.
She is a very small woman.
And who am I thinking? There wasn't a previous, was she Secretary of State?
She was Secretary of State.
Yeah, the past. And I can't remember who it was. It might have been an attorney general. But anyway.
Yeah.
So you said hello.
So she sits down. I finally get up the courage to go say hi to her. So I get up and I get up and I was like, excuse me, are you Madeline Albright? She was like, yes, dear. And I was like, I just really wanted to let you know that you're like super inspirational and like, I love you and da 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 da. I didn't say all that, but I started to tear up. I was like, I just wanted to let you know that you're one of my all-time like lady heroes and whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever I said. I can't remember. I started to tear up. And she was like, well, thank you. And she shook my hand. And I was like, ugh, and I ran away before I started crying.
Wow.
It was amazing.
That's big.
It was huge.
And I imagine she's like insanely pragmatic about it. Thank you so much. That was very insightful.
And I'm just losing my mind.
Man.
It was great.
That is so good.
I was texting all my friends. I was like, oh my God, you'll never believe it. I just met Madeline Albright.
Wow.
But yes, I would love to have an Octomore mojito in New Orleans with Madeline Albright.
If I'm not mistaken, she drinks.
I'm sure.
Yeah, that's how you deal with the free
She's
world.
from she's Czechoslovakian.
Yeah.
So I'm sure, right?
It's got to be something.
She's got to.
I bet she drinks some Atox.
At least a little. Yeah.
I would think.
I'll be like, hey, that's my great brandy.
You guys got plenty of that in the Czech Republic. Well, so there are all these interesting chapters to keep using that analogy to your journey thus far, and now you're getting to educate, getting to inspire, and pay forward some of the things you've learned from some of the great people.
Try to, yeah.
In a sense, in Collective 1806. Is there an ultimate goal for you? Do you think about starting a family? Do you think about owning a bar? That's something you process?
All of those thoughts have run through this mind of mine. I do think about it often. I love my job right now, and I love the path that I'm on, and I want to see where it takes me. But I'd be lying if I said I'm not thinking about the next step.
Yeah.
Because, I want this to be a career path and a career move. It's just, well, what's that going to be? And right. I feel like I would drive myself crazy if I just kept thinking about, I feel like I've gotten to where I am today and had the jobs that I've had today very organically. Sure. So I kind of want to just ride that wave and see where it gets me. But I do think about, Kirk and I have talked about, starting a family at some point. Not anytime soon. Sure. It's not on my agenda, but maybe, sometime in the future. So I don't know. There's no...
It's cool. I like it, though.
Yeah.
You never know.
You never know. Yeah.
It's going to be somewhere new, but you never know where.
Exactly. I feel like as long as I just keep doing the best that I can, that'll get me where I need to be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think so.
And to keep doing it with passion and keep loving what I do, I'll get somewhere.
Yeah, I do. I think so. Yeah. I think that's the right way to approach it. And actually, I thought about this because it's an interesting topic. I've had plenty of discussions with some amazing females in this industry and the world in general. But is it getting weirder with these kind of dark annals of abuse and harassment kind of surfacing? Now, I don't know. I know it happens everywhere, but I don't know of anything specifically in Dallas. But does this kind of resonate with you? Do you feel like it's something that you need to also include as part of maybe the curriculum for Collective?
So what I try to do, when I'm also very passionate about, is strong women in the industry, and I want to make sure that I'm always uplifting to those women. Yeah. If I see, I've got some really wonderful lady friends that are in the service industry in Dallas, and I want to make sure that I am doing the best that I can to either set them up in a way, use what I have, with Collective 1806 and help them education wise, but always, always, always be supportive. I feel like if there's more women as bar managers and there's more women in powerful positions in the service industry, I think we can only go up. You know what I mean? I think that's just, as far as my role goes, it's just constantly being encouraging and doing the most that I can to uplift those women.
Yeah. I think that's the best way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard because it's hard to, not that it's difficult being a man, that's never difficult, but it is hard as someone who has the opportunity and kind of the pleasure and the privilege to talk to people like you. How much should I chime in? This is an interesting balance for me because in a way it's probably just best to say, I don't know, you tell me.
Yeah.
And that's the only way.
I think that's the best way because you're never going to be able to relate.
Yeah.
As hard as you may try or want to, you're never going to be able to relate to a woman that's been abused or a woman that constantly puts up with, shit from people in the service industry. So I think the best thing as a man that you can do is just listen and be supportive. Because there's no way that you could just be like, oh yeah, I get it. I'm so sorry about that. You know what I mean?
No, I know, man. It's hard to empathize. To be truthful about that, and I think that we just have to have the conversation. That's a really good starting point.
And having that conversation, especially if you work in the service industry or you're a manager and you've got a lot of, women employees and things like that, have that conversation.
Yeah.
Be sure to have that conversation. Let them know if anything happens, I'm on your side, and you feel free. Please don't be scared to come to me with, things that might be going on within the workplace.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that was a lot of it. Whenever I was in the service industry, and this isn't speaking ill of anybody that I used to work for or anything, but it was, you would constantly deal with drunk guys saying very inappropriate things,
Right.
or, you know, like touching you and just being gross and awful. But you felt like, oh, well, that's just the way that it is. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That's not just the way that it is. And now, you know, people are starting to speak about it. And I feel like having a safe space for your employees to be able to come to you and tell you, hey, you know, this is going on, without, you know, being fearful of losing shifts or losing
Right.
their job. You know what I mean?
Yeah, without retaliation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I think you're right. And if anything, I'm a proponent of having dialogues and not weighing in with my experiences, really. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
just let people talk.
Yeah.
And let them talk about their experiences. And I try not to cast judgment ever. And it's really been a pleasure getting to talk to you about your journey, our love of John Garrett,
Yeah.
your brush with emoism.
Yes.
And everything in between. You know, I think Dallas is very lucky to have you, and I'm glad that you're
Thanks,
making
man.
some trips into Austin. We'll have to connect more often, Amy.
I would absolutely love that. This
Thank
has
you
been
so much.
So much fun.
Good, I'm glad.
Yeah.
You were so nervous.
I
too,
was.
apparently.
I've never done
come
a
on.
podcast. I was like, oh no. I
No.
don't, you know.
It's so much easier, I swear.
It really
See,
is.
we're gonna start playing guitar shortly.
Yes.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for chatting.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Well, there we have it. What do you guys think of Amy? It was really a pleasure getting to chat with her. She's been serving alcohol, distributing alcohol, educating people, and in a sense, selling alcohol. She's seen all sides of this industry, and I can't wait to see what she's up to next. And I'm glad that we touched on the Westland Peated. This is a whiskey that at that time I hadn't had much experience with, but I am very happy to say at this point I've spent a lot of time with the Westland category and the Peated in particular. And that freaking whiskey is just beautiful. You get the sesame thing going on, this umami thing. So I don't know. I'm glad she mentioned it. And she really got me elated with this kind of passion for Westland. It's a really beautiful addition to the Remy Cointreau category in that portfolio. So Amy, thanks so much for sitting down to chat with me. And I hope your next moves this year in 2019 are wonderful ones. And thanks everybody for listening to Show to V with Mike G. No matter how much you are enjoy watching the Married with Children reruns, or if you're thinking, I don't know what else to watch in the theaters, I saw the Golden Globe nominations and that was about it. Please keep dancing.